4 Primeval Titans and an Elishnorn. So he can almost be a ramp deck. He does have 4 Rampant Growth and 4 Green Suns to go get a number of 1-mana accelerants. So he can actually basically kind of faux ramp out. He does have 2 Ink Moth to go with 2 SCGWOR run.
Yeah, you know, I would
this
actually...
is Ramp Pod. You know, Naya Ramp Pod.
Yeah, I was going to call it more of a ramp deck than anything. Sort of strange. We haven't really seen that maybe since a few Star City Invitationals ago. I know that Reed Duke played one to a good finish a while back.
Reed definitely was one of the people that was kind of a champion of this deck. I know that Ari Lax also very much liked it. Yeah. I don't know that I was ever too excited by it.
You know, I played it at the Invitational in Baltimore last December.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it was good, but it was bad versus the other ramp decks, which was really the problem.
Which the other ramp decks, they're really on the wane right now, so maybe that's not a problem.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what his deck can do, especially against something like red-green aggro, which is, it looks like it's designed to just chew it up. 3 Day of Judgment, 1 Terminus, and then of course, all the usual suspects that punish the aggressive decks like Elishnorn. He actually doesn't have Wormcoil Engine, 1 in the sideboard, but none main deck. Looking at Kevin's deck, 4 Pillar of Flame, 3 Bonfire, 2 War and Peace, 4 Green Suns, 1 Acidic Slime, a Pilgrim, nothing too special for Green Sun targets, not in the main deck anyway.
Okay, Kevin Mullaly. I believe mulliganing there.
Max Brown as well. I think so. Maybe he was shuffling his hand and not his deck. Yeah, actually, that looks like the face of a man who's kept his hand.
I think Kevin Mullaly might be on the play here. Or it's a double mull.
Not sure. Max Brown, a local player. I think he's from outside of Boston, but I've seen him in quite a few PTQ top 8s around here.
Yeah, Kevin down to 5, double mulling. Max keeping a hand of 7.
So for Kevin, the number of cards in his hand really doesn't matter a heck of a lot. It's really the aggressive start that he gets. If he can go Accelerant into a 3-drop into a 4-drop, something like that, he'll be in great shape no matter how many cards he has.
And one of the things you usually don't see when the red-green aggro deck wins is them with an empty hand. So,
right.
Yeah. Turn 1 Bird of Paradise. And followed by turn 1 Bird of Paradise. Dueling Birds.
So we'll see what Max has for his second turn here. He has a forest, and wow, just passes.
That means he has nothing to play there. There's no wolves to hop out from the sky.
No. Huh. Makes me wonder what type of hand he kept here.
I'm going to bet he's going to drop a Solemn Simulacrum next turn if he gets the chance. Or a Green Suns for 3.
Yep.
Though if he had a Green Suns, I would have been happy to Green Suns for 2 and get a Viridian Emissary.
Definitely versus a red-green aggro deck.
We're going to see a Green Suns for 2 from Kevin, probably getting a Strangleroot Geist.
Yeah, almost always a Geist when X equals 2 from the red-green deck.
No other targets of note for 2 other than unless he wants to go down. And so here we see 2 power coming on in.
Kevin does not look too happy.
It's funny. Kevin says attack and Maxwell does the tapping for him. I wonder if these two guys know each other.
You know, that would be a great move by Max if he was trying to bait the attack with a Wolfear.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking about Jerry Thompson and I believe Nashville stealing the token off of his opponent's card to use for a Wrath,
Yeah.
Okay, there's a Solemn Simulacrum, and it fetches a Plains. It looks like that might be a revised Plains.
It's a classy Plains is what it is. I don't know if it's 4th or revised, but fits very well with the full art Zendikar.
Okay, the two are not acquaintances. Kevin Mullaly here in the position where here I had a conversation earlier with 2 players playing red-green and they were fighting over whether Pillar or Galvanic Blast was better. Here, Pillar means that Solemn Simulacrum does not draw a card.
Yeah, Pillar way better at this point. And
in for 2.
In for 2. Maxwell Brown down to 16, but is about to untap and maybe play a Primeval Titan.
Or even hit Tave Judgment, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
Primeval would be better, obviously.
We'll see. He hasn't slammed it yet. Maybe thinking about something like Conscripts. Wants to make sure he doesn't die to any shenanigans in a game that he has not locked up, certainly, but he's very far ahead. All his opponent has is mana and a 2/1 on a mull to 5. So 4 mana.
There's the day.
There's that day.
2 for 3. Oh, wait. Somebody's back. And a Rampant Growth.
It's really hard to measure Magic nowadays in, you know, the 2 for 3, 1 for 1 type of thing, because all the cards nowadays seemingly do double duty.
There's still value in doing it.
There is.
And we see 6 mana to 3 mana from Kevin Mullaly. 16 life, a pretty healthy amount, but 3 damage will help eat that away pretty quick. Remember, Kevin has double mulligan, so he is actually super nearly out of gas. I believe he's got a Bird of Paradise in hand, so all it takes is a single card to answer that Strangleroot Geist, and Kevin will just be out.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm a little surprised Kevin didn't actually play the bird. He has Bonfires in his deck, and Sword of War and Peace. And Wolfear Silverheart.
I mean, the bird doesn't do any good by itself. I mean, in terms of if he is trying to protect himself from a Day of Judgment, coming back with the bird afterwards is not great.
No. Hopefully, for Kevin's sake, he doesn't draw something like a sword. So Solemn will do his best blocking duty, or at least that's what Max would like. Fetches up the plains, and he'll just ship the turn. So Max, also seemingly out of gas now. Might have a Green Sun in hand. That could help explain why he's trying to ramp up to 7 here without a play. And Kevin, I believe, drew another pillar. Definitely a red card. Not sure what it is, though. And yep, another Pillar of Flame for another Solemn. And swing for 3. Max down to 10. And Kevin ships it back after playing his bird. Ooh, Sigarda. Host of Herons, 5/4. That'll stop Kevin Cole. He needs a Bonfire. But by the looks of it, that's not a Bonfire. Has to ship it back. And, yep, and there's the life total. Max now at 10, as is correct. And he realizes that he really can't attack right now.
Sigarda is such a monster.
Yeah.
I mean, 5/5 flying, untargetable. And Bonfire would be able to take care of things with some miraculous action. 5.
So Hellrider for Kevin. But I'm not sure how much it does. He needs one more creature to really overload that Sigarda. Cavern of Souls, and wow, Maxwell, nothing. Just land, 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 and not even a Wolf Run or a Nexus out of all those lands. Ooh, Huntmaster. So Max really, really needs to draw a business spell right now, or he's going to be in bad shape.
That's a lot of creatures.
Yeah. And they each do 1 when they attack. So Kevin threatening lethal. We'll see what Max has. Is that Soulbound Sage? I believe it is. Somberwald Sage, rather, not Soulbound. Taps for 3 mana of any color. Only for creatures, though.
Super rampy ramp.
Yep, it does, however, give him the chump blocker he needs to stay alive.
Again, players in the Toyota Giant Tournament, your pairings for round 3
if just barely.
shortly at 2:11.
So Max with a lot of good draws right now. He can draw a Terminus, he can draw a Day of Judgment, he can draw his own Huntmaster, Elishnorn.
And here we go with I think it's going to be a block.
Yep, looks like it.
A dead Strangleroot Geist, no damage.
Yep,
And you're trading a Strangleroot Geist for essentially a Somberwald Sage.
not bad though. He gets to flip his Huntmaster and deal Max 2 damage.
Take 2.
And 2 more damage, so Max down to 6. Yeah, and
Nothing. That's it.
The lance. Wow, so a case of the extreme flood for Maxwell Brown.
And that's a good example of why you should not be afraid to go to 5 cards.
Right, exactly. Maxwell clearly kept a hand that didn't do a heck of a lot. If he had mulled, who knows how that game would have turned out. So, looking at the sideboard, Kevin has a Daybreak Ranger, won't see that one. Won't see Naturalize. Max didn't show him a Birthing Pod.
Some cards I expect to see from Maxwell Brown is Huntmaster of the Fells, almost certainly. A very good card here. I also expect to see Wormcoil Engine.
For sure.
I would be unsurprised by Thrun, just as a huge body that can drop down and make the Hellrider less good. And then the question starts becoming, how far do you want to go into Gutshot, Terminus, Day of Judgment? I mean, because you can't go there infinitely. Your days knock out your own mana acceleration. And the Gutshots have a diminishing returns, but they also stop the early bird ramping that you can expect from your opponent, which is a bird elf deck.
Right, I expect to see Max shave on his Birds of Paradise, maybe shave 1 or 2 Birds of Paradise, add 2 Terminus. Because the ability to put those Strangleroot Geists on the bottom is really, really strong. To deal with them in a way other than Day of Judgment, which just brings them back.
Now, Maxwell Brown's list, one interesting thing we've been seeing a lot is the reduction of prominence for Huntmaster of the Fells. Because Huntmaster is simply not very good against Delver right now because of the Angel.
Yeah.
There's a 3/4 Angel. Quick from the clouds, surprise kill. And we only have 1 here, basically as a Green Sun Zenith target in the main deck, but he does have access to 2 more after board, specifically for decks like this, because against a red-green aggro deck, a Huntmaster is amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's actually one of the few decks that Huntmaster is amazing against. Because even against the Restoration Angel, if you say, okay, well, I'm not going to attack into it, I'm not going to take the bait, I'll just say go, flip my guy, well, they go end of turn, play a spell, play Restoration Angel, attack.
Right.
And then you've wasted your entire turn, and he's just not that impressive, really. And, you know, that's sort of something that I'm not a big fan of Kevin's deck, and all the red-green decks in general. I'm not sure 4 Huntmaster is really where you want to be. I think there might be better creatures. Like, for example, the Avenger.
Yeah.
Kevin's deck featuring 0 Avengers. That's a little different than Melissa DeTorres that we saw earlier. I believe she had the full 4, maybe 3, but either way, a lot more. In terms of
Wolfer Avenger, 4 copies.
Wow.
Melissa DeTorre.
I believe she's still in the running, still X and 1. From Kevin, we should see Zealous Conscripts. He has 3 of those. That'll be great at stealing a Primeval Titan. Search up his Kessig Wolf runs. Active Aggression, most certainly. Maybe Arc Trail, depending on how much of a Birds of Paradise Llanowar Elf he puts Max on, which I don't think he should. I think it would be correct to side in 0 of those.
I'm not sure of Melissa's record right now, but I believe it's X and 1. I can't verify that, though.
Okay. Garruk Primal Hunter from Kevin. Do you think he'll side that one in?
You know, it's a solid card against a more controlling deck, and he did see Day of Judgment. I would be not too surprised by it. I expect the Zealous Conscripts to be a card to definitely be seen. Well, I mean, he only saw Sigarda for big things, but I mean, with Rampant Growth, I would expect Primeval Titan, maybe Inferno Titan, so I think the Zealous Conscripts are going to come in, if not the Active Aggression as well. But the Garruk Primal Hunter, that's an interesting question. I mean, it's an easy call against a blue-based control deck. I'm not sure if it's the correct thing these days against a a green-based control deck.
Right. So Kevin, on his way to Paris yet again, going to 6 cards. Looks like Max kept his 7. So this is 3 mulligans in 2 games for Kevin, but he's up a game.
Right now, pay no attention to the score on the screen. It is Maxwell Brown 0, Kevin Mullaly 1.
Yeah, definitely is. It didn't seem like it would be after the commanding position that Max Brown was in.
Well, I mean, you have to not flood out. Flooding is a part of what happens in the game sometimes.
Right. And looking back on it, it's pretty easy to say because Max didn't draw anything off the top of his deck, but maybe he used that Day of Judgment a little too early.
I mean, what did he day away? He dayed away one of his own mana, which was not a big deal. He replaced that, and he didn't look like he needed it.
Nope.
And he got rid of
a
bird, an elf,
a lot more elf,
and the Geist for the first time.
Right. But maybe he could have just kept taking 3 damage a turn. I'm not sure.
It would have been, it would have been 3.
So Kevin shuffling up. He's got his game face on. He does not like these mulligans. There's a 6. I see a mountain as the only card. Oh, and 5 again. 4 mulligans in 2 games for Kevin.
Worked for him last time.
Yep, and it looks like that's what Max is saying to him too.
There's something to be said about decks that mulligan well. Some decks simply don't,
Right.
Take a deck like Storm. Storm can handle 1 mulligan fairly okay, but a second mulligan in a legacy deck like Storm, whatever variant you're talking about, it starts to really hurt. You contrast that with one of the best mulliganing decks of all time, Dredge. you don't really need much for a Dredge deck to get going. In Standard here, we have this red-green aggro deck, which often all it really cares about is getting a Geist or 2 into play.
Right. And, I mean, often it can just ride those to victory, as we saw. A Geist plus a Hellrider, that adds up very fast. So Max must feel like he's being handed this match here, though. He's down a game. Huntmaster, Geist, land, and maybe another land.
Rampant.
Max Brown will go fetch up a mountain, it looks like. Oh, no,
Oh.
plains. Okay, interesting. Not sure what he needs the triple white for. Probably just has a red source in hand already. And Stranglegeist for Kevin. Drops Max to 18.
It does set him up for sufficient mana for Sigarda.
And there's
4
that
mana
mountain.
Huntmaster. There's a Huntmaster.
And that's the 1 Huntmaster.
And there's a little 2/2 Wolf. I bet you the table judge will replace.
Very fast.
And there it is.
Table judge is on it. So Max Brown back up to 20. Kevin, though, not out of it yet. Will put up a fight. And Geist comes in. Wolf instantly blocks. Geist comes back as a 3/2.
Oh, boy. And it flips.
Wow.
Ouch.
Kevin with no spell. Kevin to 18, and Max will swing in for 4, it looks like. Dropping him to 14.
Take 4. There's not much to be done about that once you're in the position where you're on the back foot against the more controlling deck.
No.
I mean, not so good.
Kevin does not really have much that can fight that. Silverhearts can fight that decently well, as can Sword of War and Peace. But he's on a pretty fast clock.
I see at least another land. It's going to be his own Huntmaster. I mean, that's fine. It's Huntmaster is a fine way to fight Huntmaster, but it's not exciting.
No, and that's not what your aggro deck wants to be doing.
Maxwell Brown counting his mana. Land Elishnorn.
That's never good for the aggro deck.
He's a little shy for land, or for all of that. I don't think. No, he hasn't landed. He might have it.
I think we'd see him slam it if he did.
Yeah.
Might be thinking about something like a Primeval Titan.
I mean, he could just be thinking about offering a trade.
Right, that too. He does want to play around any type of threatened effects that he might have.
Worm Coil.
It says go.
And Zealous Conscripts would not be the end of the world.
No, it wouldn't.
He's at 20 life. And I think I see a Zealous Conscripts in his hand.
He does have one. And Max needs to make sure he doesn't randomly die to that card. And here it comes, Conscript.
Sadly, all you can really do is just briefly take it,
Yeah.
attack, and gain the life, knowing that it's going to be all undone in a moment.
Yeah, Zealous Conscripts versus Wormcoil Engine just does not do a lot.
And in comes the Worm, temporarily getting a little bit of life gain sucked away out of Maxwell Brown, which will be undone in a moment.
Now Max gets to untap. And if he has something like a birthing pod here, the game is just over. But we'll see what he can do. If he has anything to follow up the already impressive Wormcoil Engine.
In they come.
Oh boy.
No instant tricks of note here, so he is just offering up the death of our flipped Huntmaster of the Fells. And there we see it.
Yeah, that seems like a great trade for Kevin here.
Yeah, Kevin should be okay with that.
Yep, 3-3 down.
And the wolf remains. The Wormcoil will eat up the Huntmaster of Kevin's. Or did he not block it? Looks like he didn't block it.
He didn't
Okay.
block it. Oh, and
Primeval Titan.
prime time coming
And goes back up to 20.
in. Wolf Run,
If
Nexus.
Kevin has a Zealous Conscripts, that's 3, 9, 11, 13 damage. That is not a kill.
No, not even close, considering that next turn Max will just gain 6 more.
6 plus the Wolf Run.
Right. 11.
Is that a Wolf Run of his own?
It is.
And 1, 2, 3, 4. Huntmaster.
Yep.
Not great.
Not exactly good when your opponent's going bigger.
There are 2 spots left to start the next standard Renaissance, and there are 3 spots left to start the next $10 draft.
Yeah.
This game should be going to game 3 unless something catastrophic happens here.
I mean, an Ancient Grudge or a Naturalized during combat could be something Kevin has, but that's not great.
No, it's not. Primeval Titan Trigger, that's what Max is resolving right now. He'll go fetch up another Nexus and another Wolf Run.
For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan, joined in the booth here by Zach Hall. On our left, Maxwell Brown playing a Ramp Pod, and on the right, Kevin Mullaly with Red-Green Aggro.
Yep, they're deep in game 2 right now. Kevin won game 1 despite a mulled of 5. And in this game, also mulled of 5. Not going as well, though. This game, Maxwell actually has the cards he needs.
And we see the pump all in on the Wormcoil, and he's like, yep. And we are going to the game 3. Now, if you're Kevin Mullaly, and you've seen the cards that you've seen, you have not yet seen a Birthing Pod. Are you putting Maxwell Brown on White Wolf Run, or are you putting him on Ramp Pod? I think the Wormcoil Engine is a partial potential giveaway.
It is. I don't think it is as much as something like a Viridian Emissary or an Elishnorn would be, but if Kevin is really up on the different variations of the ramp decks, I think he could.
I mean, I guess I see Elish Norn in nearly all of the White Wolf run lists that I've seen. You know, usually the question is, do they run Gideon or not? And then they run some sort of sweeper, and they almost always run Elish Norn.
Sure.
So,
yeah, I'm not sure.
is Sigarda a hint one way or the other?
I don't know. That's
because you can Green Suns for Sigarda.
You can.
Sigarda.
Yeah. A lot of the green decks nowadays have a lot of redundancy in the ways that they can tutor up creatures. Of course, both the Green Sun and the Birthing Pod. I don't think you can side and naturalize for something that's at most a 3 of.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
The thing is when that pod hits, it's just really problematic. On the other hand, pod is also slow.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
And costs life.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I don't think he has any cards that he really wants to side out.
Okay, so let's say I'm just going to keep following this path. You've seen Wormcoil Engine. Is that by itself enough to think to yourself, Ancient Grudge isn't great, but I'm going to use it anyway?
Ooh, well, if you've seen one Wormcoil Engine,
you either think it's pod or you think there are more, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't hate siding in one Ancient Grudge. You know, he's shown that he has Solemn Simulacrum. He hasn't played Sphere of the Suns yet and probably doesn't have it. That said, though, even killing a Solemn isn't all that bad. Especially if you're getting through a lot of damage. And then the potential blowout factor of Wormcoil Engine, I don't think one's unreasonable. So Kevin, on the play for Game 3, thinking about his opening 7. Would hate to have to mulligan again, but will.
Oh, goodbye.
Wow.
That is the 5th mulligan for Kevin Mullaly. Mulligan Ollie the Timey. Yikes. Okay, Maxwell's joining him.
Yep, he'll take his first mulligan of the match. Looks like they're having a friendly match despite not knowing each other.
Right.
Which is something not a lot of people can do. A lot of people are just so stoic, unflinching, shuffling.
Yeah. I mean, I in a match I had maybe 3-4 weeks ago against Michael Jacob, there is one of the more stoic players in the game.
Yep. Darkest Mage. I think he's gone entire matches without smiling.
Matches?
Oh, did I say matches? I meant months.
I think I heard that Michael Jacob did 3 pre-releases one weekend, a midnight, then the Saturday and a Sunday, and didn't smile once.
Oh, man. It's tough to do. You usually have some young opponents at those pre-releases, too.
And there was even the Hell Vault, which actually, if you open it up, you might not have smiled.
No, probably. I don't really need any spin downs. So Kevin stays on 6. Must seem like a lot of cards to him.
It's true, more than ever before for him this match. Bird of Paradise from Maxwell Brown off of a forest. A slow to the party Landwehr Elf from Kevin Mullaly.
Yep, he'll still take it though. 4 is really the flashpoint of his deck.
You signed up for $10 draft number 11.
And now Max has access to 3 mana. We'll see what he can do with it. He would love to play something like a Soulbound Sage or a Borderland Ranger.
Green Suns, perhaps getting an emissary? Let's find out. And there it is. Emissary for an aggressive deck. One of the most frustrating cards to see. A Pillar here would not be terrible. Pillar, though, not great in this matchup.
No, it's a hard card to keep in. Especially all 4. I think you have to have some number, but the full 4, I'm not so sure.
I think I see a Bonfire. I'm not sure, though.
I thought that's what that was.
He could Bonfire for 1, but I mean, that would just keep the mana situation the same as it is right now.
Right. I think you wait on that Bonfire. Wait till the late game.
Look at that, a sword.
Wow. No 3rd land, though. At this point, Kevin can equip an attack, but Viridian Emissary will do its job very well.
Right. For those of you who are just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan with Zach Hall. It is round 7 out of 10 rounds here at the Star City Games Open Series in Worcester, Massachusetts. We see the Birthing Pod make its appearance for the first time, sacrificing a Viridian Emissary. This is going to be 4 life to gather a land, and if they're still in there, is there potential for a Corruptor?
No, he doesn't have one in the 75. He would love to go grab one, but
Borderland Ranger.
Have to settle for a Ranger. That's fine.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, it's
a sword is a lot of damage here.
It really is. I think Max has something like 4 cards in hand, 5 cards in hand right now.
Here comes the sword.
Yep, it equips.
And that's going to eat the Borderland Ranger. Probably. Well, maybe not. I mean, he throws it in the way.
Yeah.
There we go.
Pretty
Says
quickly
go.
throws it in the way. Maxwell Brown happy to time walk his opponent there.
Now he could have access to 6 mana, perhaps.
Yeah, if he plays something like a 4-drop and then ramps that into an acidic slime, he'll be in amazing shape.
And here is what appears to be a land. Cavern. Naming Giant?
Yeah, I'm sure that'll name Giant.
Maybe not. Let's see, what else does he... No, Giant seems pretty solid.
Yeah, he has the red mana he needs. The Borderland Ranger fetched up the red, so I think it'll be Giant.
And we see...
Oh, boy.
6 mana. Name's Worm. That's a weird choice.
Huh. That's really interesting.
Acidic Slime.
Oh, wow.
Kill... And then go find a Wormcoil Engine, perhaps?
This is going to be pretty close to game here. Yeah, Wormcoil or Primeval Titan, both are fine. I think
the
I'd get
Wormcoil.
Yeah.
It's a little bit less dangerous against the possibilities of a Zealous Conscript.
My thoughts exactly. If he does have a Zealous, you can just gain the life right back. And yeah, he has 2 Zealous Conscripts in his hand, it looks like.
Oh, Primeval.
Huh,
That
okay.
is a little bit more dangerous. I mean, honestly, a land here means 9 damage that Maxwell sits, and then the land gets fixed for Kevin. Oh,
And he
boy.
draws it.
Wow. Let's see if this actually happens to punish him. Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I think I would have cast a Conscripts if I had one.
I mean, he's got 8 there now, but that can be broken up in an instant when a Elishnorn gets grabbed.
Right. Well,
If he wants to. I mean, I don't know. That 8/8 sitting back. I mean, is there a Wolf Run? There is a Wolf Run, so you're not going to block it with your big guy there.
Number 5, come on to the stage. Be ready to start in just 1 second.
yeah, this is a really interesting line for both players. Kevin might be trying to set up some sort of combo kill here, just really hoping that Max doesn't respect the possibility of a Zealous Conscripts. Hard to do since he's already seen it. So Max in the tank right now, trying to decide how best to play this turn.
I mean, at this point, that 8/8, it is an issue, but he's got so many possibilities for like what he can do, how much damage he can do by pumping up his creature here. Like, and there's the pump, leaving mana available for after.
Oh, and a day.
And
of
there's a
judgment.
day.
Wow. So that will wipe the board.
Now, I would not have minded having Maxwell at 5 if I had just stolen and come on in.
Right. Especially with 2 more lands in play, too, because then he has that bonfire in his hand.
Yeah.
Always threatening lethal.
Hellrider comes in for 3 + 1 is 4.
Yep, Maxwell down to 10. And Kevin's hand is really potent. He just needs 1 more land to be able to play all his spells. He has a sword and 2 conscripts.
And we see another land from Maxwell.
Yeah, we'll see how he can follow up to his Day of Judgment here.
He's got an ink moth that he can turn into a bird of paradise. Otherwise, I mean, he's playing as though he has nothing in his hand.
Right. Well, he can also just kill Kevin, unless I'm counting wrong, in 2 swings. See, 1 to activate, 3 to... Yeah.
That's 2 swings.
That's 2 swings.
That's a
there.
big investment of your turn.
It really is. And then what happens if Kevin just says go with mana up?
Is that a Huntmaster he has in his hand?
I couldn't tell.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. That's Huntmaster mana. Maybe he's going to leave the Inkmoth back. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Huntmaster, gain 2 life, make a wolf.
Yep, go up to 12, go get a Sigarda. Unless, of course, he sided that Sigarda out, we will see.
I would not mind a Sigarda against a deck that runs Zealous Conscripts.
Wow.
Oh, well, I mean...
Maybe he sided it out. But I would way prefer a Sigarda right now rather than a 2-2. Because then Sigarda becomes Wormcoil Engine.
Here is a bonfire for 2?
Yeah, looks like it.
Ouch.
And wow, you know, I really have to question how Max played this game.
Back down to 10. I agree with you. Poke you for 1. Inky in the way. And is that a... Yeah, he can't pump it, though. Okay. Max down to 10 again.
Yep, that Hellrider is a 2-2.
Or probably down to 9. -2, -1. 9.
And we'll see what his plan is now. He still has 8 mana available to him, so he can't quite kill in 2 hits unless he's drawn a land. Oh,
Wormcoil,
okay.
which means that if he doesn't sacrifice it... Okay, there we go. I believe that Kevin had the kill if he didn't sacrifice the Wormcoil.
Yeah, I think so too. So he'll get 2 worms, a lifelink, a death touch, and go fetch up Her Majesty.
Elesh Norn kills the wee 2-2 Hellrider that was shrunk earlier by the Inkmoth. Now, if Kevin steals the Elesh, it will not kill both worms.
No, it won't. If it did, Max would be dead, I think.
It'd be pretty bad.
Dead to exactly.
Yep.
But
9 is the key number that I learned with Elesh Norn. As the opponent of the conscript players.
Right.
Kevin's choice of that Silverheart turn, I don't know about it. I mean,
yeah,
I think he would have won if he had not done that.
With 2 conscripts in hand, yeah, I agree.
Okay, so here he is. All he has to do is Maxwell has to block one of these players here. It looks like Death Touch is blocking.
Seems like the right block to me. Max will take 4 to 5 life.
Dead Conscript. End of the turn, back comes Elesh, and we see lifelink for 5 life plus the pump.
Yeah, and that
the tapped out opponents.
That will do it.
That's all she wrote.
Yep. And they attack, they pump, and that's game. There's the handshake. Maxwell Brown takes it down. Really close match, actually. Surprisingly close.
Yeah, I think that they both made a choice that put the game at a state that was very, very